What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Did you guys know that the Stims were actually secretly buffed? And no, this is not clickbait. This is for real. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about what that buff was, how to utilize this new Stims after they've been significantly nerfed with that movement, and as well, if you guys were running snapshots before, which is what I recommended, I'm going to tell you guys why you should stop and why they're actually broken, and not broken in a good way. Let's jump right into this video. So the secret buff that they got was actually with the restock part of it. Obviously, if you guys didn't know, one of the first nerfs that was applied to the Stims was the restock nerf, right? So the Stims would recharge 1 minute, and then all the other tacticals would recharge to 25 seconds. In that way, you couldn't really spam the Stims that much, right? Because obviously, if the game is 15 minutes, right? Either you're playing Fortune's Keep or Rebirth, and out of those 15 minutes, you don't have your loadout, let's say maybe the 3 minutes of the match, right? So you get 12 minutes of gameplay, right? That means you get 12 Stims recharge, right? That really wasn't that bad. That was still pretty decent. But because the snapshots got 25 seconds, it was just significantly better. And the secret buff that they got, I actually noticed here, and I went into the patch notes to see if they talked about it, and they actually didn't. But now the Stims actually recharge the same amount of a time that everything else does, which is now 30 seconds. So across every single tactical and lethal, everything is now 30 seconds. And I kind of noticed that because my Stims was recharging at the same exact speed as my Semtex is. And that is actually a pretty big buff for people that use Stims, because compared to 12 Stims that you could get recharged within that game, now you're getting 24 Stims because it's double the amount of time. And that is a pretty big difference, actually, a pretty big buff that it got. And that was one of the major reasons why I switched to Stims again. Obviously, if you guys don't use Restock, like if you use Overkill and Ghost, this doesn't really apply to you. But that's why we're going into the second part of the video. How to utilize the Stims after it got that really big nerf, right? So obviously, number one is still doing it the same way, right? If you guys are hiding in a corner, hiding behind a door, and a dude is about to push you, and then you stim fly past that door to, you know, catch him off guard and break the guy's camera, that's still the number one way to use it. Some mistakes that that it happens to me sometimes is always remember to stim just before he's about to go in, because you don't want to get stuck in that hip fire animation where you're stimming and the dude pops up right in front of you and you got a hip fire. Those are just really hard gunfights to win. Now, the other way that you utilize your stim that a lot of people actually don't know about is the way they use it in multiplayer. So people use stims in multiplayer, number one, because yes, it does regen your health, but number two, it never gave you any speed boost, but it actually regenerated your tactical sprint run. And that was actually the most important thing. And that's what you need to know in this game. A lot of people don't actually know that it does that. And now that you don't get that significant extra movement like you used to, it's very important that you utilize as much movement as you can. So again, if you guys don't know, once you start running, as you guys will know, you start running into that tactical sprint, right? Where your dude puts his weapon up and you start running a lot faster. So what the stim actually does is it actually resets that. So if your dude's running up and then he puts his gun down, right? Because that tactical sprint is over, and you stim, that tactical sprint will regenerate and you will put your weapon back up again. Plus, you'll get that extra boost. So always remember to use it after your tactical sprint. Don't start running and use your stim. Always run while using your tactical sprint, and as soon as you're about to put his weapon down, then put that stim. And that way, if you're trying to obviously outrun an enemy or try to get from point A to B as fast as you can. Now, why did I switch back to stims again, right? Why did I stop using snapshots, and why are they actually broken? Well, the way a snapshot should work is when you throw that snapshot into a building, it marks them 3 different ways. The first one is it marks them in your hit marker, right? You get a hit marker sound for that scan. Number 2 is you see them on your screen, right? Whether through walls, anywhere you want to see them through, you can see them. And then the third spot you mark them is actually on your mini map. So when you snapshot somebody, it will appear on your mini map. And you also get kind of like a UAV. You know if they are on your level, you know where they're above you, below you. But again, just do remember that this mini map doesn't appear for your friends. It's only for you. And that's why they were really OP. I mean, imagine you got this every 25 seconds and you would know exactly where they are. It was really overpowered. But I started noticing some huge inconsistencies strategies with this. Sometimes I would only get the hit marker. Sometimes I would only get the mark on my screen and not on the mini map. And sometimes I would only get the one on my mini map and not on my screen. And I think the biggest one is it stopped marking them on my mini map, or sometimes I would get the hit marker on my thing and just nowhere else to be found. And this is something that is completely broken. And again, I don't know when they broke this, but I guarantee you for a fact this is not how they used to work. So they're absolutely broken right now. You can still use them, I guess, but even after that nerf, which reduced the radius, and now they're broken in a really bad way, I really don't recommend you using snapshots. I mean, like I said, you can, but it's really a lot better to use the Stims right now, just because of how utterly trash the snapshots are, because we know this company doesn't like to fix their mistakes. And I don't know when or what they did to break it, but just letting you guys know that they are really broken right now. And it's really bad because you don't want to throw a snapshot and then you get the hit marker, but then you don't know where he is, or you see him on your mini map, but then you don't see him on your screen. And that really defeats the whole purpose of using snapshots. So that is why I have returned to Stims, and they are my greatest, and I love them again. And like I said before Stims were super popular, I was the first guy that posted up there when I saw that update. That it gave you speed boost, and I started telling everybody, you guys, you need to start using Stims. A lot of people were like, oh my god, Stims only give you like 1 second boost. I prefer my heartbeat sensor, and behold, everybody started using Stims. So now I'm telling you guys, trust me on this one, lay out the snapshots. I used them for a long time, but they're broken right now. Go back to the Stims. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think. Peace out, everybody, and I'll see you all on the next one.